knocking, the beat steady knocking, the beat. I got that.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 5 of The Bigger Picture. We are back today with a very special guest. We're going to get right into it. We're going to be interviewing Richard on all of the cool things he's been up to and things he's been doing over at, you know, what it's like being a D1 athlete at Boston University.
Yeah.
Boston University, D1 track athlete. Dope stuff. Let's get right into it. Santino?
So you're not only known as a college athlete, you're known for being a social media influencer, you're a producer.
I don't know, influencer, man.
But I mean, what has made
I got
you
a decent amount of followers.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah, man, shout yourself out.
No,
I mean, it was
TikTok.
quick.
TikTok.
I feel like you did. Yeah, shout
Yeah.
yourself out on TikTok.
What has made you want to like pursue all these different routes? Like you're not known for just one thing. You're known for all these other things.
Oh, I mean, I just have a lot of interests. I've always had a lot of interests. Like I said, even since, I mean, like even growing up, I played like 6 sports. So I was never like always honed in on one thing. And I don't know. I just love doing a whole bunch of things. Like, I mean, like the music stuff I love. Like that's a passion of mine. But then like I also just like shooting videos, even photography, like Photoshop editing here and there. I just, love doing that stuff. And you'll find like if you just spend some time doing some stuff that you just like and you put it out there, I mean, chances are people are going to reciprocate that.
Yeah, like why
that
not
love,
share
you know.
everything?
Yeah, you might as well just put it out there. So with TikTok, that was like people were like, oh, like you like 96K followers in like what, a month or so, six-ish weeks. And I was just like, yeah, but I started that page not for clout or anything. I started that page because if I could wake up and do something, write something out motivational, that's essentially the same thing as waking up and like watching a motivational video. Because if you write out something motivational, that's going to motivate you,
Exactly.
And so I just did that. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna post like one thing every day to kind of get me into the rest of my day. It was like a routine almost. So wake up, I'd post something at the same time, like 11, and then like a few of them just took off, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's luck.
Yeah.
You make your own luck.
I mean, it was a little luck, but then like I watched a few videos on like the best way to get a video on like the For You page and stuff like that. That stuff helped out, but my point is like that, like I didn't start TikTok for clout or anything. Like that was literally just like for me, and like I'm happy that I got so many followers, but like that doesn't change that initial like
The point of it.
yeah, that doesn't change the point. Right. I'm not gonna like change the content. Like it's still first and foremost a motivational thing. And first and foremost, actually, as backwards as it sounds, that page is for me to keep me in line with myself. Yeah. I mean,
that's
point
awesome.
is,
I want to see like when you gave me a lot of inspiration. I know.
We know, Lou. We know.
Yeah. Okay. My content is very similar to Richard, but like genuinely like. Seeing you do that, it didn't just make me want to do it, but like I've always wanted to do something like that. Maybe not the jump roping, but like like you said, like waking up every morning having that sole purpose to like put out a message of something.
Yeah,
it's and like I love that. Like that's how you keep your visions realigned, and that's how you keep your mind on the right track with your thought process, how you go about day-to-day life and stuff like that.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to write on one of those posts is, on the days that you feel terrible and the days that you don't want to do anything, those are like the days that you have the most opportunity. Because everyone has days that they don't want to do something, but if you can get up and do what you want to do what you need to do on those days, like that's like the best whatever. Something.
Yeah, it's fine. Joe dropped something.
Yeah, but those are like the most important days, and this actually helps so much on the days where I feel shitty, like terrible. Yeah. I wake up and I write on my TikTok for the day, on the days that you feel terrible, those are the most important days. And then that reaffirms myself. So I felt shitty that day. So whenever you see a TikTok of mine and it's like, on the days that you feel terrible, those are the days, I'm actually feeling shitty that day. And that TikTok alone, I tell myself and I tell other people. But that reaffirms in myself, I got to get up and do my shit today,
Right.
For sure.
You're inspiring so many people, but like it's also for yourself too.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No. First and foremost is for me, but like
that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's so many benefits that come out of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're helping someone else's day, and B, you're helping yourself, which is the
Exactly,
most
yeah.
important part.
Yeah.
It's
Win-win.
like,
Yeah.
and that it's just a win-win situation.
Right.
You're putting out content that other people can appreciate your authenticity.
Right.
You know how you feel about the world, quotes, things that help change mindsets and help align your
Right.
day right for just
Yeah,
that day.
and one thing that's a little bit disconnected is I never want to come across as some dude who like, and I think some of the people that follow me think that like you have a persona online, right?
Yeah.
So they see me, they're like, when they see me, they're like, oh, he must be like some really, really, really good jumper or something. Like, I'm a like average to below average Division I jumper.
Same. I'm
Like,
not even a jumper.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about. I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
jump
I'm
rope. I thought
nothing
you were
cra-
jump roping. My bad.
No. Like even jump roping, I'm no
Me neither.
world-
Yeah.
So like, so it just there's a little bit of a disconnect. There's a little bit of conflict that I never want to come across as like some dude who's like waking up at like 4 a.m. and doing everything right. And that's one thing. That's a message I want to get across to most people eventually. Is like, listen, like I'm not here. I don't have all my shit together. You know, I don't want to come and be like this dude who's like, yeah, I wake up every day. I mean, you guys knew me in high school.
Yeah.
You knew exactly who I was.
I still
in high
respect you though.
Yeah,
I think you are taking some credit away from yourself. I think a little bit.
I mean, yeah,
A little
like
bit,
I mean, I've just done a little bit extra here and there, but like I never wanted to come across as like some dude who's like, I've been waking up since 4 a.m. since I was 9 years old, blah blah.
Yeah.
Blah. And you know, so that's another message. But I think if you say that, you'll connect with more people as well, because no one really does have their shit together like that. You know,
Yeah,
no
one does.
no one's waking up at. I mean, and if you can get to a point where maybe you're not waking up every day at 4 a.m., but you're waking up every day at like 7 a.m. before most people, and you have a routine which is more than most
I
people.
think your routine is more important than what time you're
Right,
waking up.
and
routine's huge.
and if you can just do something, anything, consistently,
Yeah.
your entire life, even if it's just like brushing your teeth, if you can just get that down in your life, that gives you so much security. Like,
Just to be productive.
yeah. So that's another thing that I just want to get across. Is like, I'm not trying to be some guru, blah blah blah. Like, I don't have my shit together as much as the next person. But if we can kind of like just group together on this journey, you know, to like just better ourselves as people, that means a lot to me.
For sure.
You know. Yeah.
And you know what? I feel like I love having you on right now because, you know, I feel like our minds, we think alike in a sense. I feel like all of us here kind of have that same thought
Right.
process about things are a little bit deeper to us than it might be to some other people.
I don't
Because
even know about that. I mean,
not everyone appreciates, you know, what you can call as some of the corny stuff, you know? You could call some of the things like, I have a question, Richard. Does it make you feel happy when you see a really good quote? Or does it make you feel some type of way or motivated or
Oh,
driven?
yeah, for sure,
or
for
some,
sure.
You know, some type of emotion you
Yeah,
get from
I mean-
seeing these words or
I
hearing
mean,
it.
I used to watch.
Motivational videos and
Yeah,
stuff.
motivational. There's some really powerful ones out there, and I mean, like you can say, "Oh, this is corny," blah 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 blah, but like it really doesn't. At the end of the day, like it doesn't matter because that video alone has. And this is
Impacted
one thing
you.
that I try to just tell. Like I was on a podcast like a week ago, and one thing that I was trying to get across is like more like a lot of people nowadays they do, and like believe, like I'm as victim to this as the next person, especially in high school. But you go off to college and you start to realize that like what people think about you and your like reputation, you know, it matters. Like don't get me, it matters a lot, but like you got to stop doing stuff
I
for
don't think
other
it matters
people.
what like kids
Gotta
think
do what you
about you.
gotta
That,
do,
like,
right?
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
I've
Like,
always,
you know,
I've
like-
always said this. Like, I think the reputation matters. I think
Exactly, yeah.
I think you shouldn't give a fuck what people think about you though. Like, or like what the. You know
Well,
what
I mean that like that in itself is
It
kind
contradicts
of
itself.
yeah,
but
kind
it's
of.
like,
A little
but
bit.
but I get what you're saying. Like your reputation is important, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing stuff to please other people, that
Yeah.
and I'm victim to this as much as the next person. Like that is a very common thing.
I think everyone is.
Everyone
Yeah,
is.
we were
Everyone
talking
just in the
about
back
that,
of their. I mean,
actually.
people don't like to admit it, but like, let's be honest. You know,
Right.
just
Yeah.
it's like a thing. Like you'll do it without even noticing. You know, like it's more you know, as like a high schooler, like it's almost more of a feeling than a thought. I don't think anyone's
Yeah.
consciously thought like, oh, I gotta do this, but it's literal. It's like
For
a
sure.
pull. It's more of a pull. Like you'll
Yeah.
feel like literally inside you like a pull to do something.
Well, you kind of want
Yeah.
to just be a victim to other people. You can't. Like, you gotta focus on yourself,
Right.
Other than other people,
Right, that's the point. Like I'm trying to get like I think people really start taking steps to success in their life when they stop really, because everyone's good. Everyone talks, like everyone talks, bro. Like, and it's just like some of the talk's good, some of the talk's bad, but you know
Right.
you're just gonna get talk regardless.
Yeah.
And you really start taking steps, and that's one thing I've learned, especially going off to college, is like you really start learning, like.
who you are,
Yeah, I mean, but
self-reflection.
But
a
if
little
you
bit.
just and you just start focusing on yourself a lot, you know, you like the thing is, and this is how it it kind of contradicts itself. That whole like message is like, if you're always doing shit to please people, people won't respect you, and you won't get what you want, which is to like be around people, blah 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 blah.
Right.
But the moment you start focusing on yourself, you start bettering yourself. Those same people, or not even those same people, just people in general, they'll want to be around you. So you get what you
Exactly.
wanted in the first place by literally doing
It's,
the opposite. You
by
know?
human nature, anything when something attracts itself to you, you get unattracted
Yeah,
away.
and I don't
it's
mean-
like how do I explain this? Like, for example, like if something's more of a challenge, let's just use an example. If a girl is not interested in you, you're gonna want to go for the girl not
Well, I
interested in you.
I didn't
more than
even
a
mean
girl
from
that's
like a
interested in that.
relationship
I
standpoint.
know. I was using it as an example.
I'm like
I know
from
what you
a from like a opposite gender, whatever, attractive. No, I mean just like literally like just like friendships, friendships,
Yeah,
relationships,
right.
and from that standpoint, and I mean like I guess you could say that, but I mean I don't even.
Well, what
think about
creates
that
role
stuff too much.
models is that like someone that's a leader, someone that doesn't do like
Right.
everything else. It's like with this podcast going on, no one else is doing what we're doing. Not a lot of people do what you guys do. You
Well,
and Gold do or anything like that.
I mean,
You
I'm gonna be
guys-
honest. I'm gonna
yeah.
be honest. A lot of people do podcasts, but
It's very popular.
it's
right
very,
now.
very, very popular.
Not around here though. Where we're
I mean,
at.
yeah, but this is like you got to understand. Elmhurst is just Elmhurst. Like Elmhurst is like, and you'll find this, bro. Elmhurst is like it's a great town. I love Elmhurst, but Elmhurst, it is what it is. It's a town. It's pretty like
Right.
like everyone goes
Wealthy,
to
yeah.
everyone goes to college. It's
a nice town.
It's like there's no real like worries, but you'll find like if you go when you go off to college, there's some really really like interesting people in the world. Not saying that people from Elmhurst aren't. It's very
It's just crazy because like with York, it's a big school,
Right.
Huge school. But like when you're off of college, huge. You get
huge,
different types
like,
of people,
way,
different
way
accents.
even bigger.
Yeah,
So
like,
that's what I'm saying. So like
anything.
you can't limit your scope of what you're trying to do to a
Right.
certain. And I'm not just saying Elmhurst. I'm just using Elmhurst as an
Right.
example.
Right.
If you're from any town, you can't limit the scope of what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand, bro. There's probably thousands of podcasts, so you got to have this
Oh, yeah.
mentality, like.
There's millions of podcasts.
Yeah,
millions.
yeah, exactly. So, like, what are you gonna do to stand?
test
You
your
know,
luck.
and literally don't think. And this is one thing that I feel victim to a lot. Just because in your small town, your small area, just because you're doing something different, or just because you're blah 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 blah, and the people immediately in your town aren't doing that. Don't think that you're
Yeah, exactly.
some special, because chances are, bro, you go. There's probably thousands of people doing exactly what you're doing within a 50-mile radius, maybe just
sure.
not in your town.
So
yeah.
I wanted to move into more of the athletic side of things. 'Cause
Right.
You're also a very great athlete. And like you were saying earlier, you said you consider yourself below average, but you are going to a D1 school, and I consider you a very good athlete. How different is high school athletics to Division I athletics? How'd you adjust to it? Just to transfer over from high school.
Okay, so
to college?
track's kind of a unique sport because at York, track is like I wish more people kind of like took a chance to kind of buy into track. This is the only thing that upset me was that more people didn't try track, and like a lot of people did, but I'm talking like a lot of people tried cross country. That's the
Yeah.
big thing you are. I mean track.
That was popular in New York.
And
Cross
I
country's
mean,
huge.
you
Yeah,
had
it
like a
was.
lot of kids like doing track to get faster, which is good. The more people that do track, but you like for instance, my dad when he was in high school, he gave me a story about track. The track team was run by the football coach. So in the off season of the football, all the football players did track.
Okay.
There was like maybe 4 or 5 football players who did track. And we need sprinters. And football players are the most athletic kids in the school. Like we need, and it's just gonna help them. So that was the only thing that upset me a little bit. I wish more.
All these
kids-
good athletes were not.
Yeah, I
transferring
wish.
over to
I just
track
wish
in
them
the
more.
offseason.
It's gonna help, and I get it. Like there's such a
They're all wrestling, probably.
there's such like a thing. There's such like a you want to specialize in one sport, but really, if you're like a running back or receiver, just go out and do track.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Versatile.
get faster. You're gonna get stronger. It is what it is.
Yeah, be as more productive as possible. I remember when I used to play with sports, it always kept me out of trouble, always kept me in line, always kept me in
Yeah,
check.
I mean, but even more so if you're trying to make it in football or whatever, you're trying to be a good football player. I mean, getting faster is and no knock against you, Joe Gold, but but
Gives him the finger.
but yeah, you're gonna but whatever. It is what it is. I get that there's a disconnect because the track team is run by the cross country coach. It's not run by the football coach. So it is what it is. But that being said, our track team was actually I didn't know this, but going to other schools and talking to my teammates, we actually had a pretty built up track program. We had 6 kids go D1 out of our team.
At York?
Yeah, and the
Okay.
year before we had like 4, and the year before that like in the 3. You know, we consistently churn out pretty high level athletes.
Yeah.
We have a great facility, and you don't know this. We take the indoor field house for granted at York. Like
Oh, it's
Not
huge. Yeah.
schools do not have that.
schools
That is, yeah.
do not have that whatsoever. And from a track perspective, having an indoor field house is just unheard of.
Yeah.
So that's great. And our facilities, and from a track team perspective, one thing that I was literally talking to Coach Sumberg just about a week ago, talking about the comparing the two. And I was like, I go to BU, right? Like, we have a little bit better of a indoor. Actually, we have a lot better of an indoor facility, just because our track is known at BU for like being one of the best in the country. I think the indoor American world record was like set there, but it's known. So our indoor track, yeah, it's a little bit better. It's banked and everything. But beyond that, I was like, yo, like I was thinking like, oh, we got this weight room to ourselves, like we got our own personal weight room. And I was like, yeah, well, we kind of had that in high school too,
Yeah.
Like no one was in there when we were in there during the track season.
Right.
And I was like, oh, well, maybe we get our own specific strength training coach. I think back, I'm like, oh, yeah, Coach Boyd was our specific train. Like we had a specific.
You had all the same opportunities in high school that you almost like.
I mean, almost, except for the competition. But even then, our conference was insane, and so it really wasn't that much of a. I mean, obviously, there's the whole stigma around it. There's a whole NCAA thing that you got to worry about now. But
Yeah.
in terms of facilities, strictly just facilities, like York wasn't. I mean, BU was like a step up in the terms of their field house, but other than that,
The adjustment was
Yeah.
not going back to. The
and then
question,
obviously the coaching's a lot better because no offense to my high school coach, but like
was your
it's
main
a high school coach,
Yeah,
and
so
and
they
it's
only
a-
do so much.
yeah, and
you know?
it's an abstract sport, and even more of an abstract event that I do, triple jump.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the best. But when you go to college, you have specific coaching.
Yeah.
For
But York's got great facilities and stuff.
Yeah, no, it
for a
does.
high school level,
No, we're so blessed to have that school.
With
What
that
is
being
it?
said,
1A or I'm sorry, 8A for high schools, right?
Yeah,
Is it
8A,
max
yeah.
But
Sorry, in
what about the
college,
training
4A.
though? How's the training different from high school? With
I actually trained
yeah.
more. I say the training in college is smarter. Like we were tracking everything right, but the training in high school was pretty much all on me. Like we didn't really have that set lifting or anything. So I really wanted it senior year.
Right.
So I would go lift every day after school, which was more training, but it wasn't as smart. I didn't
No,
take
I
any off
feel
days.
that, yeah.
And then so.
I feel that too because with COVID going on too, I was going to be asking you all these questions about COVID and how it's affecting your
Right.
season. I just know that with me, I had to be my own college coach because I didn't really have the assistants that we would usually have because for like training.
Right.
You kind of had to do everything by yourself in the gym, and you had to be your own teacher. You had to be
Right.
your own role model because I see you doing ropes. I see you being all dedicated. And with everything too,
Yeah.
and that really has like helped in a way. And the question I'm gonna be asking you is, how has COVID helped you and your season, and helped you become a better person?
COVID has actually been kind of it's actually I'm not happy that it happened, but
Yeah, no.
There's been some
I'm not.
benefits that came
Yeah,
out
there's
of it,
been some
maybe?
benefits that came out. Like I said, so
Agreed.
when COVID first hit, we really started going off with incognito over the summer, so that was a big thing. Like I said, I got to work with some not crazy, like they're cool artists. It was cool to meet some of them. I mean, they had a decent amount of following, but that was pretty cool, because that's my real passion. That's what I want to do after college. I want to stick in the music scene and open up my own business.
What artists did you meet? Like, just for our viewers.
So 10K Cash, that was probably the biggest.
You have an unreleased video with him, right?
Yeah, we're still. It's been a minute, but we're still in the
Okay.
editing process for that.
That's awesome.
And then El Hida is probably the biggest in Chicago. That was actually really fun. He was my favorite dude that we met. I actually love Hida, and
Seems like a good guy.
yeah,
I
we
know
were
you
gonna
guys
actually
are,
we're gonna
chill
meet
with
his
it.
producer in the next few days, RJ.
Let's get El Hit on the show.
I mean,
I'll reach out to him.
we'll see.
Yeah. No, I know. He's probably got it, yeah.
But yeah, no. So Hida, he was a great guy actually. Very interesting to talk to him and meet him because he's such a different background than anyone I've ever met before. He's someone who really grew up like in a pretty terrible part of Chicago. Yeah. And then Icy Narco, which was just like a first. You know, he was cool, but he needs to drop. Yeah, I hope he drops some music sometime soon. He hasn't dropped anything in like a year. His unreleased stuff was actually like pretty good.
He just hasn't dropped anything.
Yeah, he just hasn't dropped anything. Yeah, so and then those are the people that I've met personally. But yeah.
What made you get into all this? What made you get into the more music side of things? You know, you have a lot of obviously.
Yeah, so I was never really like into the musical side of things. I remember my parents forced me to take piano classes as a kid, but I was never like passionate about it. And then actually, and this is what like York has just some great opportunities. So I took music production 1 as a freshman.
Okay. And
I sat down in that class and like literally like within the first week, within our first project, I fell in love. I fell in love. That's all I wanted to do, bro. Like awesome. I love it, and I still do. It's a genuine, like I can say there's very few things that like people say, oh, I'm passionate about, but are you really passionate about? Like, I've been passionate about music for like 4 or 5, and I think most people who know me can say that. I've loved music and music production for like a good amount of years, and I safely say that's an actual passion of mine. Kind of what I want to do with my life after. So
that's awesome.
Is there a specific sound though? Like who like influences your sound when you're producing beats?
Oh yeah, I love Chicago art. So Chicago drill. And I know this isn't very popular at all.
Ralphie's like yes.
Yeah, bro. But like I know because Hida, like you knew him. Like right. Yeah. So like I was a big fan of Hida before I actually met him. Like I actually followed his music since I was 16, and I was like, it was awesome to meet him. But really Chicago, but specifically Chicago drill. And I know it's like the music isn't like it's a very unpopular genre of music that people like. But for whatever reason, I just love it. And really, they talk about some pretty terrible things. Like it's a lot about like guns, drugs, sex, which
also
it's not the
best. With that.
Yeah, it's like all rap music.
It's not the best role models if you want to like live your life after that music, but I just love the sound, whatever. I don't know. I just love that music. I've been following that music, and it helps, and I'm from Chicago, and I like that music. So
it's culture.
In terms of like my beats and stuff, and that, like, specifically, I thought a few artists. G Herbo #1. Loved
G Herbo's awesome. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Ever since he dropped Humble Beast, I've been following him since like I think we were 16 when he dropped Humble Beast. And then Hida, like I said, I've actually been following him for a minute. And just some like smaller guys. FBG, unfortunately, like he passed away, but I've been following his music. But then his one of the dudes in his crew, and I don't even know what they call that in the is Ruga. I actually love Ruga's pretty dope. Obviously, and then you got the bigger artists like Lil Durk. He's dropped some fire stuff. Off the top of my head, I feel like I missed. Oh, Ludfo. Oh, I love.
Yeah, he's fun.
Ludfo.
His music's fun sometimes.
Yeah, so I mean, he's kind of died off a little bit, but bro, like our freshman year when he was dropping no hooks and like In and Out and 187, Ludfo.
187, that song is fun.
Yeah,
that song is fun. Yeah.
So producers, like who's your favorite? Like one of your favorite producers?
Kid Wonder, and I actually I never like our producers like the producers that we have like. That we work with closely with Incognito, like Nico the Great and Trippy from the Crib, they know him and Kid Wonder's been in the studio. I've been trying to meet Kid. Like I have his manager's number. I call his manager, especially over the summer. I call him every like when we had the session with Icy. I call his manager. I'd be like, "Yo, like can Kid pull up?" Like Icy, he's like, "Nah, I don't think." When I called him about Hida, he's like, "Yeah, for sure, we'll pull up." Never pull up. But Kid Wonder, bro, his tag, ever since like I listened to Love, I'm like, who is that? Damn, Kid, you made that be dead. You know? Kid Wonder is one of my favorite producers. But then some of the bigger, like 808 Mafia. And then some of the bigger guys as well. Down the line, things change all the time, so you can't really plan. Like, you can only really plan exact specific things in the short term, and this is a definite long-term thing. Right now, I was talking to Ethan and Sebi, Roan, like they're out in Sacramento. They're actually working out of their own like little studio right now, which is kind of dope. and I'm gonna see them in
Yeah.
about a
Did
week.
he move to Sacramento?
Yeah, they're both out there, so that's
Damn.
gonna be sick. I'm seeing them in about a week. I'm flying out there, and we're gonna be chopping it up. They're actually some dudes who are blowing. I think YSN Mar. Did they tell you about this, Joe? It was YSN Mar, and there's some kids who are blowing up on TikTok right now that they actually just got in the studios.
That's
Why
really
know?
dope.
It's like Lil Mar and YSN something, but they're blowing up right now. But point is, so I was talking to them, and
Thanks, Mike.
right now this is something that like we want to do with our life. This is a passion of ours. We've had this incognito dream since me and Seb were freshmen and Ethan was junior, and this is something that like our friendship. Like I've stayed in contact with these kids
Yeah.
across the country. Because we're so passionate about this. Like, there's just no way we can't make it happen. So right now, our rough plan is we're obviously going to get our degrees. And then right after, we're just going to take the leap and take out a small business loan, maybe get some investors, but take out whatever monetary, whatever we need to do. If we need to take out a loan, whatever. If we
Yeah.
need to get investors, we're going to do whatever we need to do to rent out a building, not like a big building, like a little 2-story, apartment sized building, like it's a little tiny building, and live in the top floor, and then on the bottom floor maybe set up like a little entrance area, but really set up 1 or 2 studios. We're just gonna live up there and just grind our asses off, every day, whatever, 18 hours a day, just grinding,
Whatever it takes.
whatever
sure.
it takes.
Yeah,
Because we can't,
And-
we just can't, we can't fall into a 9 to 5. 'Cause
No,
we'll get trapped.
yeah, no.
Like I said,
You
you get
cannot.
trapped. You will get trapped, and this happens so often in our
Yeah.
world. And like I said, so some in high school, I wanted to sophomore year, whatever. I'd be like, oh, I want to go to Harvard. I want to get into the finance. One of the things like, oh, I want to be a doctor, but then also be a lawyer, and that would be an interesting cross. And
Yeah.
you know what? I'll just hate myself if I have to do that.
You just gotta be happy. You gotta be happy,
I'm
man.
not. I'll
It's-
just hate myself.
Yeah.
And people would tell me, Richard, you seem really passionate about music. Like maybe you should just do that. And I'd be like, no, like blah. And the more that I've just grown, and the more that there's just no way I can't.
So,
Like,
yeah.
I should really.
Yeah.
I have a chance right now to really follow a passion of mine, and I would hate myself if I have to look back in 20 years and be like,
You can't regret it. You
I
can't
can't.
regret
It would be
No.
probably the biggest regret of my life if
Yeah.
I don't take the jump. And if we fail,
It's fine.
and we
It's
go
all good.
broke,
Yeah.
bro. At least at least I can wake up every day and say, I took a shot. I took a real shot
That's
at my
awesome.
dream. I took a real shot, and that's something that you can be proud of.
I just think that
For
people
sure.
nowadays are afraid to take a leap of faith.
You
If
know-
anything, people are afraid. It's
I mean, you
just,
have to.
know?
You have. And so many. That's so true. Like so many people will be like, "Oh, do you want security in life? Do you want security? Or do you want to be happy?" And once again, this is a very like middle upper class problem. I'm not saying any. There are some people who literally cannot follow their dreams because
No.
They're growing up, and just
Because the cards they were dealt with. It's
exactly,
just
and
so horrible.
that's like that's that's tough, but and I'm very 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 happy and privileged and whatever that I have an opportunity to follow my dream, and it would be such a slap in the face to people who can't afford to follow
Oh
their
my
dreams.
god, this is
It'd be such an absolute disrespect
God, yeah.
if you just lay back and you don't really do something, because bro, do you know how many people would love to do their dream?
thank you. Thank
Exactly.
you.
It would be
This
an
is all I
absolute.
preach
You'd
about.
be pissing on their entire existence if you don't
yeah.
follow you. Just take a shot at your dream. That's all it is. Just
Thanks.
literally,
Yeah.
just whatever anyone here, like they have, you can fail, and you have a family, you have a support system.
gotta
You're not
fail.
gonna,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So take,
why? Yeah.
bro, take a shot at your dream in life.
You just gotta learn to fail.
And like I said, if your dream is to become a chemist and get a PhD, some people that's
fucking
their
do it,
dream.
yeah.
Some people it's their dream to be a doctor. But if you're doing something because you want to be safe and secure, bro, like maybe I get it. If you got to do that to provide for you got obligations, and that's the only way you can provide for that. I get that. There's
Yeah.
no smite again. There's nothing wrong with that.
100%.
You got to do what you got to do. But if you are
a
just
clip.
you're taking an easy road and you're not, it's just kind of pissing on someone's
Yeah.
existence. You gotta take that shot.
Back what you were
Because we
saying
have
about
nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Back what you were saying about opportunity, it's just like it's so disrespectful. It's almost like in Elmhurst, where we live in, I see lots of people complaining about life, about everything. When
Yeah.
like you need to just appreciate the resources that you have. You need to appreciate the gifts that we have. It's just like we have these mics right here. We could do so many things.
Right.
Or what we could do, we got the tools. We got everything that we need to do things. It's just we
Yeah.
can't be afraid. You can't be afraid about what people think nowadays.
No,
You can't. That's
you know what?
helps people
I
back.
completely agree with that, and you know, Elmhurst is Elmhurst. It's a great town, you know, but like I said, we're kind of in the amount of people that have told me this, and I think you guys can all agree, Elmhurst is in one way or another, it's kind of a bubble, you know. You
Yeah.
kind of get centralized into
That's all
what's
we
going
know.
on in Elmhurst with
That's all that matters
Yeah,
in the whole
exactly,
world. It's just what's
right?
happening in that town.
And
now.
so you can understand in high school, people just kind of like going through their life, you know, whatever.
Going through the motion.
Yeah, and that's, you know what, that's fine. You know, that's fine. Because you're a kid, you're literally a kid, you know,
Yeah.
and you're gonna make mistakes, but when it's time to grow up and you're going off to college, I mean, really, you
different.
start to look back and you're like,
None of that shit mattered.
yeah, you know, and it does to some extent, you know, like, you know, I you know, the relationships I've made and the person who I am
You
today.
wouldn't be the person you are.
Literally,
today
the
without
person
your
who I am
experiences.
today is because of Elmhurst. So, you know, I can't
bash it completely. for that.
commend Elmhurst. You know, it made me who I am today, and I'm happy with who I am
Not
today.
at all. Yeah.
You know, and there's definitely some things that that I would like to take back or whatever. But in the end, you know, I'm still the person who I am today,
It's all learned
literally
experience.
because of Elmhurst. So
Yeah.
it's a great town. Let's get that out of the way. But one of its flaws, for all the things that are great about Elmhurst, one of its flaws is you get this centralized mindset where the only thing that matters in the world, like you said, is Elmhurst. And that's just not the way the world works at all.
No.
Like, you find that's just not how people generally think, and that's just not the way the world works. Period. And I think that was a big thing that I had to learn going to college. Is it's just all that stuff that in high school. I mean, that just doesn't matter, like, whatsoever.
Yeah,
Like,
you
whatsoever,
Yeah, you matter
whatsoever.
so much. You're just like that little sect. Like you're that little insect. You're that
Yeah,
little thing. You're
and-
like when the
And you
world's such a
can't
big
commend.
place.
Like, I'm not commending it. Like, believe me, bro. I get that mindset. And I feel a pull. Like, even coming back here, I came back here for one day. I started thinking the same way I did before I left. It literally
Really?
sucks you in. I was talking to my friend, and it's the same. You come back, bro. It's like I looked at him and I was like, bro, shit ain't changed. And he's like, bro, shit ain't changed. It's literally just that. Maybe it's just the way Elmhurst is, but you come back, you get that same. Like, I'm feeling the same way, you know. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
like, what are these people doing? What's a movie? Blah 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 blah. You know, and then you
What's
and
the move?
that's why, like, I'm like,
hate
people are
that.
like, oh, Richie, you're only staying here for like, oh, shit. You're only staying here for like a few days, and then you're going off. Like, I'm going to West Virginia, I'm going to Cali. I'm like, yeah, because, like, I feel like I'm just gonna fall into old patterns here. You know, that's just not what I want to do. You know,
Yeah.
But nothing against Elmhurst. It's still
It's,
a great.
it's a great town.
It's a great town.
It's ranked. It's like ranked like number.
It's
like
a great town.
10.
It is a
It's a great town.
It's,
There's
uh,
just that one thing that just gets a little iffy, which is like it creates like a kind of centralized bubble mindset. But once you get outside that bubble, the tools that Elmhurst gives you, I mean, you're gonna be smart. You're gonna be social. You're gonna know how to, you know, act in certain situations. You're not gonna, you know, you're gonna have a great education. You're gonna have a huge focus on sport. I mean, sport's a huge thing at
Oh,
your
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
gonna help you out a lot, you know, socially.
For sure.
Yeah, and you know, and the tools that Elmhurst give you, it's just that. And once you get outside of the bubble, I think you thrive. It really
Yeah.
does. But if you don't get outside of this bubble of Elmhurst, you can see it kind of turns into a problem. But you got to get out, and most people do. And you know, I think most people can say the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's the only, like, everything about Elmhurst is great except for that one thing. It's just kind of
Yeah.
a bubble, and it is what it is, you know. And a lot of towns are like that, you know. Just a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
towns are like that, you know. And that's just the way the world kind of works. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think for me at least, like, speaking on behalf of myself, like, I haven't left Elmhurst because I didn't go away and go to college, you know, yet. Maybe that's what the future holds. I don't really think it does because I have my own vision of things I want to
Right.
do. But I still feel different. Like you said, you got this feeling of when coming back that it was just like old habits come back,
Yeah.
almost, you know, shit ain't changed.
Yeah, shit ain't
basically,
changed,
Is
yeah.
what you were
Shit ain't
preaching.
changed, yeah.
And I feel like so much has changed, even though I haven't even left. But
Right.
my mentality has changed.
No, you can.
And so
It's
can't.
not
co-
like
yeah.
it's not like physically. Like you can leave.
Yeah.
It's just changing your mind. You know, not
Yeah.
even changing. It's just like honestly, I think it's just like growing up. You know,
I
like,
mean, I took
you
myself
can
out of
leave,
the bubble,
but you
know.
don't have to like physically leave.
For sure, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, that does play a role on it for maybe like, I don't know. Sometimes when you're, it's like deja vu type thing. If you're like somewhere you were before, you think back to that.
Yeah.
So like you're, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like it's definitely
No.
it's interesting.
Can you talk about like your guys' like roles? Talking like on like Seb and Ethan, like what your guys' roles are specifically in Incognito.
Yeah. So we like I said, we were the ones who kind of like we were the ones who started it. We've had this dream since we were freshmen. Man, Seb and I, we'd spend I probably shouldn't have done this, but I'd skip a class here and there, and I'd just go down to the school. Once again, York, this school is amazing. It has
All the tools you need.
it has
So
a
much.
full on music production
Yeah.
lab, and then it has a fully built out studio with soundproofing, microphones, like they could be you could turn that studio and you could rent that thing out like that.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of money. So I was like, I'm gonna take it. Like I'm
Take advantage of
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just down there all the time making beats. We just dick around and make songs and just do little things. But right now we one thing that I can't have with Incognito is sole leadership, because I don't think that works in any situation. And people could take the reins. Like it's usually between me, Ethan, and Seb, and we could pass the reins to each other, and someone could take a little bit more of an initiative
Yeah.
for a few months, whatever. But really, us three, we always, we have an equal influence on that whole operation, and
For sure.
it's just when we go into business, whatever, like we're gonna share everything equally. Any decision that has to be made is gonna have to be consensus between the three of us, and that's just how it's gonna go, because I don't like holding on to something. I just think that creates problems. If you're the sole leader, like it would just create problems.
Yeah, I
You
don't
need-
believe in that either.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for us, like, I play the role as a host, and then I have my co-host.
Right.
But at the end of the day, no decisions get made unless we all are standing by
Right,
it. You
right.
know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not like a one person
Yeah.
takes all, because that's very hard to, to come around. And I especially, I don't even want to be that person. I hate, like, I already feel like I call the shots. I don't want to call the shots. Like, I need, like, other influences
Right.
and, like,
Yeah, so
stuff like
going
that.
back to the question, the answer is we all play an equal role.
Gotcha.
Two,
Yeah.
two minds better than one. Three minds better
Yeah,
than two.
and so
That
like
sort
for
of thing.
instance, like I'm off in Boston, and like I said, I got practice, and I had a ton of schoolwork because I decided to be a chem major, but switching into business school because
Okay.
Yeah.
it's just, once again, I'm not going to be a chemist in my life.
Yeah.
What is that going to do to help me? Something in business might help me. Learning marketing techniques or learning,
For sure.
Yeah.
that actually might help. So like I said, because like I said, even like that mindset would follow me all the way up through my senior. Oh, I want to do that. I want to blah 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 blah. I want to be blah blah. And then you just got to be realistic. Like this is one thing I'm all for confidence, but everyone knows that one dude who's like, man, just wait, I'm gonna blow up. Just wait, like
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. And I think being realistic with yourself is
An important key factor. for
very
sure.
important. So I just had to sit. I was just sitting there and I was doing my lab, and I was like, I'm just never gonna use this in my life. Why am I doing
yeah.
this? And nothing against chem. Like I said, my chem professor was very passionate about chemistry. Like he loves doing that.
Yeah.
But that's not me. And so I'm switching to the business school, and I'm like, this
I
is
feel like
this is probably gonna help. But like I said, so I was completely sorry we went off on that tangent. But like I said, I was
No,
completely kind of, there was not that much time, and I couldn't like allocate too much time towards Incognito. So I called up Ethan, and I had this exact conversation with him. I'm like, yo, bro, like I'm just gonna be straight. Like I don't have that much time. Like I'm gonna need you guys to take the reins for a few months, whatever, or while we're in college, because they're just doing online school and they're they're out there grinding. And
Yeah.
Ethan's like, bro, like I'm so happy you called me. Like, it's like we're like I said, this is a 3-part thing, and that is, I'm so grateful that we have a system set up like that, because the train doesn't stop moving just because I can't dedicate time to it.
Exactly.
You know,
That's-
they're still out
and
there
that's
grinding,
that's
you know?
beautiful, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's the first thing you do when you wake up? What's your motto? Like, what's your motto? You wake up and you're just like, what? How do you start every single day? It
See,
doesn't have to do with sports.
Now, here's the thing. So I would love to say, and hopefully I'll get to a point in my life where it's like this. I would love to say I wake up every day at 6 a.m. and then I stretch and then I eat a healthy breakfast and then I shower and then I motivate myself and I just do that every day. Because the most successful people in life live like that.
Yeah.
But
Live by that
you
schedule.
got to be realistic with yourself. You can't just wake up one day and do that. That takes years of discipline. Like, really, it does.
Seriously,
that is
yeah.
hard to do. And you can do it. And the thing about motivation is like you can motivate you. Maybe you do it for a day. Maybe you do it for a week. You got to ask yourself, like, can you do that consistently for your life? Because that's what matters. Not a week. Maybe you do a week. Yeah, you're going to see progress in a week. But in the end, you're probably just going to fall in the. Are you going to stay consistent and do that for your? And I'd love to say I do that, but really, I wake up probably just like the kid next to me. I'm tired because I'm doing homework the night before.
And on top of sports.
On
too,
top of
working
sports,
out.
I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm trying to get sleep whenever I can.
Sleep's important.
Yeah,
really
and
is.
I'm just waking up probably like 10. I mean, I wish I woke up the same day every time, but you know, I'm gonna get like I hope to get there one day. But you know, I'll wake up. One thing that I do consistently is I post at least one TikTok every day.
That's
And
good.
that's
what
a
I'm trying to get out of.
That's a
Yeah.
start. That's a start. You know,
Good start.
that's a start. Yeah. So that's that. In terms of the routine that I have, just like a normal routine, I'll shower, whatever. But you know, a one routine that I've done consistently for the past 6 weeks or so is I posted one TikTok. I don't care how it does. If it goes trending, great. If it doesn't, whatever.
about
It's
you.
more there just so
About
I can
you.
check in with myself.
Yes.
Did I do?
That was your
Yes.
quota for the day. That was
Yeah,
your quota.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can if you're you know, like I can post one TikTok again. Okay, maybe then you can expand on that. You know, it's always about little steps. No one just wakes up and becomes the most motivated, consistent, dedicated person in their life.
No, you gotta
that
get
just
that
doesn't
fire.
happen.
You gotta
That
build
just
that
doesn't.
to be
fire up.
consistent.
And
takes
and you know,
yeah.
and you see so many motivational videos. Start waking up at 5 a.m. Blah blah blah.
No,
That,
they're wrong.
you just can't do
Yeah.
that. You just can't do that. That's just not.
ease your way in almost.
Yeah,
like everyone's-
really,
Yeah.
it's like anything else. You have to develop a habit. You have to start at a small scale, and then you
Everyone's
have to
different.
expand it out, and it will take years. But just like anything, it's a process.
So with this one, have you ever questioned pursuing sports or anything with like, music, TikTok?
Well,
Have you ever questioned
So,
that?
like I said, music's my passion. That's what I want to do with my life. That's always been one of and I'm so happy because some people really can't say. If you go up to them, you ask them, "Do you have any idea what you want to do with your life?" And then they're balancing like 3 different things.
yeah,
And I just encourage anyone really like just take 10 minutes and just really, you know, when you're planning your college career, just think back and be like, what do I actually want to do with my life? Like screw security, screw anything else, what your parents say, screw what your family does, screw what your friends are telling you. Just sit back and actually think to yourself like, what do I want to do with my life? And you know, come to a conclusion on that. And it's hard. It really is. Because most people, if you go up to anyone and you ask, what do you want to do with your life? Most people are like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, most
Well,
people
Richard-
don't know. And I'm just saying, I'm so grateful that I sat down in that classroom freshman year. And from the moment I started making beats, bro, I fell in love. And I haven't had, and I've kept that passion for 5 years. And I'm so happy that
That's
when
awesome.
someone,
It's beautiful, yeah.
when someone comes to me, what do you want to do with your life? I say, I want to own a music production company.
Yeah. What
That
you-
is one. Yeah,
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
But what you said earlier with, you know, you ask someone what do they want to do with their life.
Right.
You know, most people wouldn't know. But that's what separates the mediocre person from a non-mediocre person. And but let me finish what
Yeah.
I'm saying with this. Is like, with that being said, not everyone has to be mediocre. We've talked about on this
Right.
on this YouTube channel, on these podcasts already about fulfillment. So fulfillment might be going and getting a 9-to-5 job, maybe doing something you
Right.
love, or it might be not having security like you've been saying. So
Right.
it really goes either way.
Right.
You know, maybe they just haven't found either their passion yet.
right.
There's
Yeah,
many
there's
things that
no,
go into it.
there's
That's
no
all.
knock. Like literally,
There's no knocking them.
there's
no.
no. I'm like, if I really hate separating myself from like trying to be this guru leader, and I hate when people say, you got to do this to separate yourself from the media. Bro, there is absolutely nothing. If you're mediocre for the wrong reasons, then there's but bro, mediocrity can be that person who's a postman, right? Or that person who's working a 9 to 5, who's putting themselves through hell, but they're providing for their son, they're providing for their daughter, they're putting their kids through college. Yeah, maybe on the surface level they have a mediocre job and a mediocre existence, but their kid that they provide, they put him through college. That is extraordinary, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the mediocrity is such a relative term. Like, what do you mediocrity so often gets grouped in with monetary and financial success. So people be like, oh, you got to be bro. No, absolutely not. Some of the most extraordinary people in the world work mediocre jobs.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
That's why. But we've already touched on that.
Right.
Where I don't bash
Right.
I don't bash mediocrity. Mediocrity is a beautiful thing.
Right.
But some people just strive for. But also, you got to ask yourself,
Right.
what is mediocre? I had a very good friend of mine. This actually opened my eyes like crazy.
Right.
I had a very good friend of mine said, "Well, Luigi, what I'm doing is mediocre in your eyes, but to my parents, it's not
It's all
mediocre."
perspective.
I have a friend-
It's a relative
Yeah.
term. It's a completely
I have a
relative
friend
term.
who he was the first one in his family to go to college.
Right.
That was being not mediocre.
That's
that was being
exactly.
that was
It's a
success.
completely
right?
relative
So
term.
it's all about perspective. too.
Right,
It
so
really-
that's the thing. Like, I hate when people just group everyone into mediocre, above average, below
Everyone's different.
Bro, mediocrity is a relative term.
it's a beautiful thing too.
And like I said, like, you could be mediocre to someone else, but to your kids, to just to yourself, you can be extraordinary. And really, it doesn't. Like I said, this comes up so it doesn't matter what people think. It really doesn't. If you're extraordinary to yourself, that's all that matters. If you
you're
can
happy,
look back,
seriously.
if you can look back and be like, you know what, I made the most of my time here. I put my kid through college, man. Like, I worked my ass off to put myself through college,
And fulfilled.
or I work my ass off to start my own business. I work my ass off. Even it could be something completely different. I work my ass off every day, But if you're just fulfilled, like I said, fulfillment, and you're happy, that in itself is extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people should strive for, because not that many people, and if you want to get out of mediocrity, not that many people can look back at their life and say, I'm satisfied, you know? And that's what you should strive for. Not being extraordinary in a financial term, not being extraordinary to your family, not being extraordinary to anyone else,
but to yourself.
but to yourself. Because if you can look back at your life and say, I'm happy, that is the definition of being outside of this mediocre group.
I agree.
Yeah.
Knocked it right on top of the head.
Yeah.
But wrapping things up, where do you see yourself with Incognito Productions? Maybe in the future, where do you want to take it? What's the next step?
Yeah, so I mean, my plan right now is, like I said, things change, but I was talking to Ethan and Sebi, who are pretty much we're like we've been on Incognito since like our sophomore year and Ethan's senior year, but right now our plan is right after we all graduate from college, we can't fall into a 9 to 5 because we're never gonna get out.
I agree with you on that. That's the last thing I want for it to happen.
Yeah, so we're just gonna
getting too comfortable.
We're just gonna take the jump. We already have Incognito like registered as a business, but we're really not making any money right now, just because things have kind of cooled off with college. But our plan is right after we graduate, we're just gonna take the jump. Take out a small business loan, or maybe even get some investors. But we're probably just rent out a building in either. And like, this is very wishy-washy right now, but it's just a general direction. We're probably going to rent out a building either in Atlanta or Chicago or LA. Probably Atlanta, just because the property is pretty cheap there right now, and it's a good music scene. And just live in the top floor, build out a studio in the bottom, and just work out of there.
That would be the ideal like start to something, Like
I mean,
that sounds
like
good for you,
literally,
good for you for having those
if I
dreams.
get caught into a 9 to 5, I in high school I'd always be like, oh, I want to go to Harvard, and I want to go to like get into this finance, and people would tell me,
the closer it came, it's like you realize.
People would
that's not
tell
what
me
I
like,
want.
Richard, I don't think that you like doing that. Like, I think you should do music, and I'd be like, yeah. But you know how hard it is making me. I want to get it. Now thinking about it, they're right. Those people who tell me that they're completely right. I cannot ever see myself
Have a normal job.
I just
Me
I just
neither.
can't.
I'm with
There's
you
just
on
no
that
way.
one,
I
brother.
just
I'm so with
I
you
just
on that one.
and even with school, I'm pretty smart, but I'm not
It's not
passionate
for you.
about.
It's not. It's just like
and
for me, it's not for you.
and there's some people who are. There's some people who are like,
Yeah.
if you're passionate about, like literally, my chem professor is like actually passionate about chemistry. When he talks about chem, there's like a spark, and he actually loves chemistry. And if you're like that, by all means, go off, get a degree in chem, go get a PhD in chem, you know, but follow something that you like. You don't have to be passionate about it, but like, you got to ask yourself at some point in your life when you decide to do something or settle down and get a job, you got to ask yourself at least, can I do this? Am I going to hate myself if I do this job? And if the answer is yes, bro, just do something. Like,
Just do it. yeah.
literally drop it and go do something else.
all about being
you're
happy.
probably just going to be miserable, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to put that on your family either. If you're just miserable and you got to come home,
Exactly.
And then
that's like a big problem
it
with a
affects
lot
your
of people
attitude
nowadays.
Also. Yeah. But all right. On that note, Richard, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so
much.
The
No
insight
problem.
was
Thank you.
awesome. Listening to you talk. Thank you guys for tuning into the Bigger Picture episode 5. And make sure, and Richard, if you want to shout anything out before we wrap things up, anything, your YouTube, anything, TikTok, go for it. And it'll all be in the description below, of course. But
Yeah, I guess, I just check out the description. If you, follow me on TikTok and IG if you don't already. But yeah,
I'll drop the ads for sure.
yeah. Thank you.
TikTok, IG.
All right,
and
thanks.
then-
guys.
Is there a YouTube channel for Incognito I could put?
Yeah, just search up Incognito Productions.
Okay,
on
there you
YouTube,
go,
yeah.
guys. Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Good.